considering these large chocolate bars a surprise tool that will help us later. Except the one you're looking at, I ate it. Anyway, to start February, I went to Sushiro. It's a popular franchise conveyor belt sushi restaurant. I took my reservation ticket, waited 10 minutes, and eventually I was seated. Now, this is not my first ever conveyor belt sushi place. There's one close by where I live back home. If I need some cheap seafood in me, then I'll pop over and spend a couple dollars on a dish or two. But this general layout was way different than what I was used to. Also, here's me panicking before I admitted defeat and went to the English menu. Anyway, the conveyor belt sushi place that I went to back home, everything was just arranged on the conveyor belt tray, going by every customer around their tables and whatnot, and you would just pick up what you wanted just straight off the rack. There were these plastic covers on top that kind of sealed it in place so you knew that it wasn't being messed with. Apparently Sushiro used to do this too, but they've completely revamped their system where you order it on your iPad menu and then it's shipped out to your specific table on the conveyor belt. Anyway, the reason why Sushiro did this revamp is a whole can of worms that I don't remember all the details for. Feel free to look it up. Also, I am a little scared to go into detail of for this video because Japan has slightly different slander and libel laws there than what I'm used to back home in the United States. Wherein, if I'm remembering correctly, any negative piece of information, even if it's true, if it damages the business, can still be considered libel or slander and can get you in a lot of financial trouble and sent to court. Admittedly, I'm not a legal expert, not in America, especially not in Japan. I am absolutely not an expert on the subject matter. Please do not take what I am saying as the word of God, and especially not as legal advice. Anyway, let's get back to the sushi. I ordered 4 dishes. Here, look at this automatic system as it goes right into my serving window. Here are 3 plates of sushi and 1 little container of muskmelon. Now, this first tuna piece I'm picking up, that was a 2-piece set, but I ate one before I remembered I had to film. And then I ate the rest of it before I remembered I had to film more. I'm sorry, I love sushi. I actually really like the muskmelon ice cream container. I actually kept it after I finished it off. Now, this might sound weird. I've never had muskmelon, so please don't take my criticism to heart. This tasted really strongly of bubblegum. Maybe it's just that this recipe is different than the recipe from Baskin-Robbins. Again, I want to emphasize I have yet to taste real muskmelon before, so maybe this one's more accurate, maybe the other one's more accurate. But it was still pleasantly, mildly sweet. And honestly, with this being en route to my school, just like my day job back home, I might just drop a couple hundred yen whenever I need a quick bite of protein. Somehow, I felt stuffed on not that much sushi. All in all, yeah, this was a yummy experience and I enjoyed it and I'll try to return soon. Just don't ask the staff about the kid who is the reason why they revamped their conveyor belt system. Sushiro? Done. Hey, get ready for a very exciting adventure. Gray tried a new recipe and isn't sure about it. I have decided, because I hate myself and I hate saving money, that I would take on the role of every Friday I would gift little snacks and foods to my classmates, and I looked up a recipe for banana pancakes just to try it out. It's not Friday as I'm recording this, it's Tuesday, but I'm testing this out just so I can figure out the recipe beforehand. I cut the recipe a portion in half, but it called for a halved recipe, 1 ripe banana mashed up, 2 eggs, and a 1/4 cup of flour. Here are the units in metric. Now, the first smell that I'm getting is egg. Now, if you see closely the little white specks, yeah, I didn't properly mix. I just could not be bothered to sieve out the flour clumps and mash them up and remix them. Let's see how this tastes. It's fine. Maybe I cooked it wrong. The texture is a little rubbery. Maybe that's my fault. I do taste the banana. I'm not tasting the egg. But I should give this another try just to be on the safe side. On Thursday the 5th, I went to Osaka Ukiyo-e Museum. One of my managers kindly requested, if possible, to gift him a woodblock print. This is what came up when I googled it. And they have a very strict no photography or video allowed in the main gallery rule. So look at my receipt and business card. Now, I asked first, but this area we're opening up with does allow photography and video, as these are modern copies and not ancient woodblock prints. Now, here's a very short diatribe. That wave piece and this mountain piece we're looking at, it's part of a series called the 36 Views of Mount Fuji. Now, why don't you take a guess on how many prints were made? If you guess 36, wrong, it's 46. Anyway, here's some artist information in English and in Japanese. Feel free to pause and zoom in right here. And this is the gift shop section, also okay to film. Sorry for this weird swing, I was trying to avoid recording people's faces. As much as every fiber in my body was screaming at me to buy more knickknacks, I just could not bring myself to. These all felt like standard material, cheapo gifts and books and whatever, and some legitimate history, of course. I'm not trying to diss that either. The cheaper, more reasonable price stuff was just something I wasn't particularly interested in, and the genuine woodblock prints for sale were way out of my price range. The cheapest one I found was about 10,300 yen, which was equal to, I think, about $80. Now, there were modern posters for sale as well, but I just knew transporting it back home would be an absolute nightmare. As much as my heart screamed for me to pick up a tube and purchase it, I couldn't bring myself to take that risk and damage it. Even seeing all the beautiful modern samples up there made me want to cry because I wanted one so bad, but I just knew it would get demolished on the way home. But maybe it's for the best that I don't view these as material items to be bought and sold, as these are legitimate pieces of history. The ones for sale dated back to, at the earliest, mid-1800s. The ones in the display, those were there for centuries. There are prints in there older than my home country. And a weird transition is going to come here soon, because I was recording these, I looked to the left, and they also had a no pictures sign. Also, there was this very expensive restaurant next door that I was too scared to enter. I don't have the prerequisite tax bracket. Osaka Ukiyo-e Museum? Done. Now, I was heading off to the cat cafe next, but then I found a Samoyed cafe, and I just couldn't help myself. Though, slight confession, I found this when I was new to the city weeks ago, and then I just kept it in my back pocket for later. I didn't find any claims about animal abuse or maltreatment, so I figured it was safe enough to visit. Now, devastating news. The minute I stepped into the, for lack of a better word, arena, I got glomped by dogs, and I was not quick enough to record myself doing so. Now, I was a little surprised at first when I found out I had to, take off my shoes and put away my stuff in a locker and wash my hands and even, get sprayed down with antiseptic on my jacket, but after, 2 seconds of thought, yeah, that makes sense. But it was news to me when I showed up. If anyone else needed to hear it too, now you know. There was lots of signage about, respecting the dog's space. There was a specific room that they could go into that customers were not allowed in, just dogs and staff only. From what it seems, it looked like they do love their dogs. Now, admittedly, I'm not an animal expert. I was not raised having pets in my family, so I don't know a whole lot about, the different body languages and the like. I'm sorry. Maybe they're, screaming for help secretly as they're smiling and bouncing around and playing with people and licking their faces. Who knows? And should that be the case, I would love to be corrected on it so I know for the future. But I'm a pet layman. All I can tell you is these animals are cute, and it cost 1,800 yen for 30 minutes, and that was well worth it in my opinion. Next up is my actual destination, Neko House Cafe. Not Neko House, Neko House. After being sentenced to the lobby for a minute, I was allowed inside with the same sanitary prerequisites. This one had a lot more toys around, at least ones that I could see. Admittedly, there were less toys in the other area, but maybe this is a dogs versus cats thing, and the differences thereof, or I don't know, maybe the other place was evil. Now, despite the Samoyed Cafe being a cafe, it didn't serve drinks. So the fact that the Cat Cafe had drinks for sale, admittedly quite expensive ones, made it definitely a more cafe-like experience. And here's another thing I learned as someone who is not an animal expert. While the dogs in the Dog Cafe were very sociable, the cats in the Cat Cafe were not. Most of the time when I tried to interact with the cats, they would always jump away, and I didn't really want to force the matter, so I offered my, social hand, offered toys. As you can see, this cat was willing to play along. Most of the time they weren't, and that's okay. I didn't want to kidnap the cats, basically. Here's this fella trying to get the last of my ice cream. It took until after I finished recording to realize I probably shouldn't let this happen. Cat Cafe Nekohos. Done. Hey gamers, I've just come to a conclusion after today's lesson at school, and that is I probably am not going to pass. I really am trying to comprehend the language. I may or may not be consistently behind on I say homework. There's no like assignments that I have to do at home. They warned us that there would be like grammar stuff that's exclusive to the homework. I'm not seeing it. I think I could have explained this a bit better. The course load is exactly the same between homework and in-class work. There's nothing exclusive to the homework. That being said, I need to be better on my homework. The point is, I kind of feel like I'm the dumbest person at school right now because even though like I'm doing my in-class assignments as best as I can, whenever I'm put on the spot, like, oh, surprise, like pop quiz, or oh, we have like a grammar refresher, or even just getting called on, like, hey, Gray, answer the question, I just lock up in fear and my brain empties all knowledge. And all the assignments I've gotten back are not great. Now, my attendance so far, 100%. Couldn't be better. I don't think I'm going to pass, though, based on my scores, though. It's not just attendance that makes it. And, I mean, on one hand, I was warned that not graduating 3 times means I'm basically kicked out. If I don't graduate the 1 time, I mean, I could still try 2 more times. And like I was having a bit of a cry a little over a week ago about it. That combined with just having the bad day. Basically, we had to do like a required medical exam that I was scared of because of my very transitioned body, but it went fine. And then afterwards, I needed to sell clothes. I brought clothes that I was intentionally trying to get rid of to make room for gifts for people. And I visited like 10 stores and all, like the last one could finally take them. I totally got shortchanged, by the way, but I was more concerned about just getting rid of them than getting a good deal. But on one of the places that I went to, thankfully not the ones that could take the clothes, the employee was a bit rude to me, so I cried. Well, it was just like a couple tears, like as I was outside, but like I survived. And then I sold the clothes. I was doing better. I was still hovering around the area because I was close by school, and I had to go back to school later that day anyway for like the proper lessons. And I was not doing well. And then I had like a real cry. I had to go in the bathroom and just like cry it out quietly because it's like, wow, I truly am the dumbest person. And I was telling my friend about it, and she reminded me about Dan Avedon's semester in France and the 2 classes he took, flora or fauna, flora of the French Alps and epidemiology. And he absolutely bombed both of those courses, but he did truly enjoy the experience, and he told his professors, listen, I would not change this experience for the world, and I learned so many great things, just not your classes. And I'm feeling that a little bit too. I am trying to keep up. It's hard. I think if I didn't live alone and I had like more opportunities to practice my Japanese, it might be better. Or just to like study with my classmates outside of school. That would probably help. But I'm stuck here for a little under 2 more months. I'm just gonna ride it through and hope for the best.